is the control mechanism that they have. So what the Federal Stability Board does is essentially turns over financial control of our country, of the whole planet, to a handful of bankers. Too much history here. You need to learn your history though, because we're just repeating it. I mean, if you think that a modern country with educated people can't be taken over, I would simply remind you of Germany in the 1930s. The Germans at that time were among the more educated, sophisticated, and cultural people in the whole world. And look what happened when they let Hitler take over and run their economy and build up a war machine. And how do you do that? Well, let's go back and look real quick. In the 1st of January 1933, Germany was a republic, the Weimar Republic. Hitler was only a chancellor, kind of like vice president. And then what happened? The Reichstag, their parliament building, burned, okay? Which doesn't sound like a big deal today, but back then, I assure you, it was as shocking to those Germans as the World Trade Center's towers were to us. Immediately, Hitler said, this is the work of terrorists, communist terrorists. And he rammed through a piece of legislation called the Enabling Act, which essentially set him up as the central dictator. It collected under one roof all of the police agencies in Germany, which became the Gestapo. And gee, doesn't that sound familiar? We have a terrorist attack, and then we get the Patriot Act. Who voted against something called the Patriot Act? Okay, and here we go. And now all police agencies that are no longer here to serve and protect, they're here to carry out the wishes and desires of Homeland Security, which sounds suspiciously like fatherland security. Now, for locally, here's something you need to know about. Comprehensive Annual Financial Reports, called CAFRs. Go to your local city councils, go to your county commissioners, and ask to see their comprehensive annual financial reports. Because what's happening today, folks, is when you say, well, we want to see the budget, they will show you the budget. And they'll say, okay, here's how much money we took in last year, and here's how much money these services are costing, and here's how much, oh, look, we're in the deficit, we're going to have to raise your taxes, but they're not showing you the comprehensive annual financial reports. If they did that, they'd show you the money that they've got stashed in savings accounts and in investments, et cetera, et cetera. In fact, the people who have looked into this say that virtually every state in the union has millions of dollars floating around that they're not reporting on and that they're sandbagging back. Pardon?
I said that's right.
Oh, yes, this is right. We're talking about wrong things. All right. All right, quickly, why don't you guys know about this? Oh, you know about it? Oh, okay. Well, see, I'm preaching in the choir here, aren't I? Okay, well now then let me get on my little preaching thing here. You need to go out and start recruiting other people. This is a great group here, and you guys got your eyes wide open. I'm giving you some facts and some statistics to show that yes, there is centralized control and they're going for more. Why do you think they're stockpiling 1.6 billion rounds of 40 caliber ammo, which is outlawed by the military? Okay, and why do you think they're stockpiling 27,000 armored vehicles? You think that's for some kind of foreign invasion? Those are for use against the American people. And why? Because the American people are waking up. Now here's the thing, you're not going to be able probably to change Washington. Yeah. You're not going to be able to change Washington. It's corruption beyond repair. But you can do things locally. Learn about Cisco. Turn it down. It's all about money making anyway, with nothing but propagandizing and conditioning for collectivism in the bargain. Tell them when they say, okay, we're going to pass all these laws against the Second Amendment, just say no. Say no, you're not. All right? Get on the school board. Tell them, take C-Scope back where they got it and they're not getting any more money out of your local school district. You can do that if you get elected to the school board. And if you get really fired up, then go get part of the Texas legislature. And the next time, like happened here about a year or so ago, when the Texas legislature, the Senate, 31-1, voted on a law that would cause a $2,000 fine and jail time for any TSA agent that inappropriately groped your private parts. And even the governor, Bush, says, yeah, I'll sign that. All of a sudden, the feds came in and said, well, if you do that, we can't guarantee airline safety, so we'll have to shut down all flights out of Texas airports. In other words, make Texas a no-fly zone. And our legislators, in their eminent cave-in-ness, said, oh, gee, well, okay. And they never even got out of committee. Now, if I'd been in charge, I'd have said, hey, okay, make us a no-fly zone. We'll just stop sending money to Washington. This is the oldest argument that's been going on in this country ever since the founding of the Republic. Who's going to run your life? Some bureaucrat in Washington, or worse yet, some bureaucrat in Brussels, or your own locally elected representatives and you who know best how to handle your own land use and your own local politics. Now, speaking of Brussels and the United Nations, and I think y'all know where that's going, I would like to introduce Rosa Koire. She is Executive Director of the Post Sustainability Institute. Post Sustainability. She is a forensic commercial real estate appraiser specializing in eminent domain valuation. Everybody know what eminent domain means? Yeah, that means we're going to steal your property. All right. She was a district branch chief at the California Department of Transportation for nearly 30 years, analyzing land use and property values, so she knows what she's talking about. She fought to stop a huge redevelopment project out there, and she has researched the corporate, political, financial interests behind it, and discovered Agenda 21, impacting every aspect of our life. And most of you probably all know about that, so we won't go into a detailed description. She'll probably tell you more too. Sustainable development is a corporate manipulation using the green mask of environmental concern before the globalist plan. She speaks all around the world. She's a blogger. Her website is democratsagainstUNagenda21.com, and she's been a guest on Lynn Beck, Alex Jones, Coast to Coast, hundreds of others. And I myself am going to get a copy of her book, Behind the Green Mask, because obviously here's a woman who has done her homework, and I admire her for that, and I ask you to give her applause too.
No.
Let me see. There we go. All right. Good. Hi. I can't see you. I know you can see me. I'm going to fix it. I disappear here. Yeah. It's a magic trick. All right. Well, fun, isn't it? A lot of fun to learn this stuff. And you know what? It really is fun. Because the more you know, the better you feel, the more confident you are, the more solid you are in your information, and nobody's going to shake you off of that. And that's what you want. So, I want to tell you, first of all, I'm real glad to be in Texas, and I do thank you for not seceding, because you got the guns, right? We need you. So, you know, we have, all of us as Americans, we have a commitment to private property rights. And we know that our fundamental private property rights extend to our bodies and our minds. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about private property. It's not just the dirt. It's everything that we care about. It's vital. This is our lives. So right now, you know, we live in a culture of emergency, right? That's what this is all about. They're keeping us scared. We've got these technological innovations that have kind of lured all of us into a sort of addiction to our electronics, right? And suddenly data collection and assessment are part of our daily lives. So our expectations of privacy and of limits and of individual freedoms and responsibilities are definitely changing. And we're instructed to view the world in, you know, and ourselves in global terms. And most of us don't really know what that means. So that's a little bit about what I'm going to be talking about tonight. And I do want to tell you just a little about myself. I am a liberal. And I have, yes, there's somebody. I've been a registered Democrat since I was able to vote at the age of 18. And for many years I was active in national issues, pro-choice, anti-war, and pro-gay rights. So I guarantee you, you may not like me now, but you're going to like me when I get done. So the information and conclusions that I'll be presenting to you are, were very difficult for me to accept because they contradicted my worldview. And, I think if I hadn't gone through the experience of being a whistleblower, an ordeal, of being a whistleblower and a dissenter, I might have continued to see the world in blue and red, or in green, right? But as they say, once you see the magician do the trick, you never get fooled again.
Yep.
So, I'm here to talk with you about United Nations Agenda 21, Sustainable Development. And as Americans, you're going to find yourselves completely at odds with and deeply concerned with the American transformation. This is the agenda for the 21st century, and that's what it's called by the United Nations. It is the blueprint. It is the action plan, as they call it, to inventory and control all land, all water, all plants, all minerals, all animals, all construction, all means of production, all energy, all education, all information, and all human beings in the world. It's the action plan to inventory and control. It's a transition from representative government to government by unelected boards and commissions. It's the erasure of jurisdictional boundaries, loss of private property rights, and ultimately, a loss of our sovereignty and our freedom. So, of course you're going to be concerned about this, right? Not just as Americans, but as free human beings. This is a nonpartisan issue. That's what it is. We are all Americans. We care about our freedom. And this is a threat to all of us. So, United Nations Agenda 21, Sustainable Development, was signed on to by 179 nations in 1992 at the United Nations World Summit, Earth Summit, in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And George H.W. Bush signed on the United States and committed us to implementing sustainable development, and it has been supported by every single president ever since. It was Bush, Clinton, Baby Bush, and Obama. It's a global plan, and it's implemented locally. So, United Nations Agenda 21, Sustainable Development, is the biggest public relations scam in the history of the world. But it's actually more than that. The agenda for the 21st century is a recipe for destruction. It enables and justifies monitoring and metering and restricting our access to energy and water. And you'll see that as smart meters, right? Instituting a carbon tax on industry, pulverizing our roads and destroying our dams, sinking our economy. This collapse of our economy is Agenda 21. It exhausts our military with endless war. How about instituting data collection, right? In schools, in healthcare, in government, in law enforcement, energy. This is what happens. It is enabling and supporting this. It diagnoses a huge portion of our population with mental illness and drugging us, right? Drugging us. How much protest are you going to do when you're taking your Prozac? Or smoking your weed? Bleeding our transportation budget with high-cost trains to nowhere. Revamping the school system by inserting sustainable development principles from pre-kindergarten all the way to postgraduate school. Declaring our public lands off limits to humans. Changing every land use document in the United States to require high-density development in city centers to more easily manage, monitor, and control us. It allows for warrantless searches and domestic surveillance, identifying us as potential enemy combatants in our own country. How about that? If an enemy was trying to destroy us, it couldn't do a better job, could it?
Right.
Yeah. This is the erection of a corporatocracy. This is a totalitarian state being erected right around us. This is it. It doesn't come with flashing lights, right? It's a stealth plan. It's a stealth plan. It's not Area 51. It's not Catch 22. It's Agenda 21, the agenda for the 21st century. And yeah, it sounds crazy, and it is crazy, right? I'm not crazy. The plan is crazy. So let me tell you, there's an overarching political and social philosophy that goes with this plan, right? It is called communitarianism. Now, communitarianism says that the individual's rights have to be balanced with the rights of the community. We're Americans, right? We have a republic, a constitutional republic. We are guaranteed our individual rights. Our Constitution is based entirely on protection of our individual rights. This is why we have a government, to protect our individual rights. And what rights? Our property rights. If I steal from you, you can expect the government to come out after me. If I slap you, you can expect the government to come out after me. The government is designed to protect our individual rights. Right? But no, now we have communitarianism. It says the individual's rights have to be balanced with the rights of the community. Now, what rights does the community have? Right? What are the community's rights? They are undelineated, unwritten. They can change at any time, be given or granted or taken away at any time. It's all for the common good. Right? And, the individual is selfish. So your community, what is your community? It could be your local community, it could be the global community. But the individual's rights are like a feather, and the community's rights are always going to be like a brick. They will outweigh the individual's rights. So I have a visual that I like to do to kind of give you that sense of what this really means. So let's say we have two glasses, two clear glasses, right? And one of them is a clear glass of water. I'm going to put that down here. That is individuals' rights. This is a constitutional republic, what we have here, okay? Now I'm going to take this other clear glass, and this is, this first glass, the constitutional republic, is full of water, okay? Now we have a clear glass of milk, and this is your communitarian state. What's that look like? Well, how about communist Russia, communist China, or Nazi Germany? To give you a couple of examples, that's all for the common good, right? Now we're going to balance them. We're going to take a clear glass pitcher, we're going to put it down here, we're going to take our water, our individual rights, our constitutional republic, and balance it with our communitarian state, okay? So what do you have? You got milk. You have subsumed the individual's rights into the rights of the community. That's what happens when you balance the rights of the community and the rights of the individual. This is what it's really about, okay? So let me give you an example. Well, basically, Agenda 21 is dependent on Hegelian dialectic, which sounds like it's all fancy, but really the deal is, it's crisis is proposed, and then, you know, crisis comes up. Oh my goodness, what are we going to do? We got a crisis, we got to do something. Now, a solution is proposed. The balance between the two, the compromise between the two, now becomes the new normal, right? This is the new normal. It's something you would never have agreed to without that crisis. So, it's the third way. So, what's the crisis? Global warming, climate change, right? Climate change, global warming. Global warming, climate. It's really bad. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, climate change. Serious. The planet's in danger. You know, the sea levels are rising. We're going to be, you know, 100 years, you're going to be underwater in Bastrop. You'll need a snorkel to get out of bed, right? There's no time to lose. Yeah, panic, collapse, right? That's what you're going to see. So this is from my local paper. Remember, culture of emergency, right? It says here, it's hard to deny that the Earth is functioning well over capacity. Like an overworked horse, it's simply a matter of time before the global organism collapses. Yeah, right. All intelligent people agree that it's your fault. That's right. Our selfish, wasteful, greedy ways have nearly destroyed the planet. Okay? But what are we going to do? What should we do? Wow. Guess what? It's the UN to the rescue. Right? Right, we're going to save the planet. We're going to save the planet. The World Commission on Environment and Development in 1987. This is called the Rutland Commission. They came up with a book, it's called Our Common Future, right? And that's, you know, everybody thinks they know what sustainable development is now, right? You've seen the term, you figure you know what it is. It's like development that's sustainable, isn't it? Yeah, right. Well, here's where the term comes from. This is where the term was coined and defined in the 1987 Our Common Future book that's put out by the UN. Okay, it's development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. That sounds really good, doesn't it? I mean, who would want to compromise the ability of future generations to meet their needs? I mean, do you think that, you know, your ancestors came to Texas and said, I think I'll do everything I can to screw up the world for my future generations? Nobody does that, right? Nobody wants to do that. So of course, what they decided is, yes, everything we're doing now is compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. So what are we going to do about it? So the UN said to this commission, this World Commission on Environment and Development, they said, hey, can you come back in 5 years with the action plan to implement sustainable development worldwide? And they said, sure. Okay, we'll do that. So they did. They came back with Agenda 21, the agenda for the 21st century. Every aspect of our lives is covered in this 300-page, 40-chapter book. It's a program of action for sustainable development. Program of action. It's not some passive little document, right? Itself, it is a green mass. It's, you know, you might not catch all the things in here that you should be concerned about if you're looking at it. But this thing is really a direction. It is a blueprint to control your future and your life right now. The chair of that commission was Maurice Strong. I'm sure you guys remember him from the oil for food scandal. He had to split the United States and Berlin and communist China. He was had his hand in a cookie jar for like millions of bucks. Anyway, What did he say? He said, at the UN, he said, what's unsustainable? Middle-class lifestyle. Yes, the middle-class lifestyle is unsustainable. Single-family residences, private vehicles, appliances, air conditioning, meat eating. I'm sure you like that here in Texas, right? Livestock. That's a threat to the planet. Threat to the planet. Golf, dams. This is a threat to the planet. So, you know, there's a logo that goes with Agenda 21, and I know you've seen this. It looks like 3 interlocking circles. It's kind of like a piece of the Olympic symbol, right? And it's in my book here somewhere. I'll find this while I'm stalling here. I forget what page it's on. Okay, so what this is it's economy, ecology. Here it is. You can't see it, but it's economy, ecology, and social equity. These 3 circles, interlocking. Right in the center, where they're balanced, that's sustainability, okay? Economy, ecology, and social equity, right? It covers every aspect of your life: economics, housing, transportation, land use, healthcare, water, energy, food production, and population control. How about that? China, all these 179 nations have their local Agenda 21 guides, and China has theirs. And if you take a look at it, they are working on a sterilization vaccine with the United States. So here it is. There's a philosophical basis. There's an underlying philosophical basis for all of this. And it's really important to know this because, especially if you're talking about climate change, and you're saying, you know, hey, I've got 50 scientists who say it's not true or whatever. Oh no, I have 100 scientists. So I've got 1,000. No, I have 10,000. No, I've got 20,000, right? So think about this. It's the precautionary principle. And this is in Agenda 21. This is part of Agenda 21. And it says that if an action or a policy has a suspected risk of causing harm to the public or the environment, now check this out, in the absence of scientific consensus that the policy or action is harmful, in the absence, the burden of proof that it is not harmful falls on the party taking the action. Gee, that's pretty good, huh? Yeah, you're guilty until proven innocent, right? In the EU, they